Hello, everyone. It's Rebecca with the Santosha Way, and I am your Akashic Records facilitator. Today, we are talking about the Capricorn super full moon that actually already happened this morning. Early this morning, I'm recording it on the day of July 3rd, 2023. So, this was at 4:38 a.m. for the Pacific time, at 6:38 a.m. for Central Time, and 7:38 a.m. for the Eastern Time Zone. Now, Capricorn is represented by the sea goat, ruled by Saturn, which is our planet of karma, time, and structure. It's our planet of hard knocks, right? Restriction, limitations, those types of things, hard work, right? Capricorn is associated with the 10th house of our legacy and the mark that we're going to leave upon the earth. Wherever you have Capricorn in your chart is where you're going to see this full moon playing out in your life. Of course, I have more information about that over in Phased by the Moon on Facebook. If you'd like to join us, you can find that there. Now, in the higher expressions of Capricorn energy, we're ambitious, we're structured, and driven to create this legacy that is going to stand the test of time. And we know our value and we love the finer things in life, but and there's nothing wrong with that, right? We understand quality over quantity. That's what Capricorn's all about, refinement. In all things, in structure, refinement in our structure, refinement in our legacy, refinement in our life's work, our offering to this earth. So, in the lower vibrational energies, the lower expressions of Capricorn, we can find ourselves so focused on work and hustling that we forget that materialism doesn't sustain our soul for the long term, right? Or we get stuck in our limiting beliefs and perceived failures. And this is something that I'm actually seeing a lot right now in the Capricorn energy showing up is some of these perceived failures or things that we created or set out to create that have not actually come to fruition or that appear to have been failed experiences, right? I really am seeing a lot of that come out, and I'm going to get into that just a little bit. I have a few random notes that I'm going to try to stick with. I didn't do a whole lot of notes for this exact stage. So I do want to talk a little bit about December. Whoops, kind of going back and forth in my notes here. December 23rd of 2022 is when we had the Capricorn new moon. And at this time, I was saying, the way to live well within the season and set your intentions had to do around the stories that you're telling about your life based on your past experiences, right? How are you introducing yourself now? Are you proud of yourself? Are you a little hesitant or embarrassed about your life experiences? Where do you feel like a failure based on these old stories of your past? What ways are you still offended by what happened in your past? The things that your triggers, what is still triggering you about some of your wounds from the past, right? I said review your motives behind telling the story. Are you explaining where you are and why you're there? Are you justifying yourself? Are your actions or your motives or your passions? What is your intention of telling the story and opening up to share your voice? What are you hoping to accomplish? What do you really want to continue to feel? Do you want to feel offended or honored that you participated in these experiences? And basically diving into rewriting that story based on a new level of communication, new perspective, softening some of those perceived failures into I learned so much from this experience and here's where I am now kind of energy, right? So I really wanted to touch on that because it feels very important right now. It feels like as we're sitting here at this full moon in Capricorn, we're kind of looking at, well, what stories have we been telling, and how did we change that, and how are we introducing ourselves now, and what all has happened since then. So moving into this full moon, the full moon is a time of harvest and reaping rewards, but it's also a time of balance, bringing things into balance that maybe are out of balance. And it's a time for making new decisions in light of what we know now, because the sun brings illumination to the moon. The sun is our awareness, and the moon is our subconscious, our inner selves, the things that are hidden and unseen within us. So as the sun and moon come together, the sun brings information up to the surface about what is beneath the surface. Now, so right now the sun is in Cancer, and the sun is bringing awareness to our house wherever we have Cancer in our charts. Now, collectively, Cancer is the fourth house of home and family. Cancer is the mother. Cancer is the emotions. Cancer is our tender insides, and it is where we need to nurture and nourish ourselves. It's the things that we are nurturing and nourishing within ourselves, all of those things. It's the tenderness wrapped up in a shell, a protective layer shell, because really that which is tender and still being tended to and grown needs to have a protective shell around it, right? Otherwise it's exposed, and it's not going to be able to actually mature and grow into something. On the other end of this, Capricorn, where the moon is right now, is associated with father. Cancer's associated with the mother, Capricorn's associated with the father. And both of this axis, if you look at it, Cancer is ruled by the moon, which the moon shows us these rhythms and patterns and cycles and energies at play in our lives. We have a cycle every month that we go through. We have a annual cycle that we run through with these moons. And so they both work with cycles and patterns and timing, because Saturn rules Capricorn, and Saturn is that father time and karma, and saying, we want quality and refinement over quantity. So, you're going to have to put in some extra timing and some work. And Saturn says, yes, you can have what you want, but in time, in this rhythm and season and timing. Now, as a law of attraction teacher, and one who plays with the law of attraction and energy and everything, I would always say, there is no such thing as time. There's only alignment, which is true. It's very true. Alignment of your energy overrides timing. And you can find loopholes, and you can have quantum leaps in your life, and you can sync up with energy in such a way that you use the energy and you jump into these higher frequencies, and what we would even call higher timelines, right? As we're navigating with our energy and cleaning our energy up in our stories. So to an extent, time isn't real. Time doesn't exist. Everything's happening at the same time. There's multiple timelines existing at once. Kind of breaks your brain to start thinking about it, but your past, present, and future is happening now. Isn't that interesting to think in those terms, right? So to blow your mind, don't get hung up there. Point is that there is timing, and then also there is alignment. And so what do we have to do for alignment? We have to bring our emotions, that moon, that subconscious aspect of us, we have to bring that into balance. We have to have some structures in place that support our emotional body. This full moon really has, for me personally, and what I'm recognizing, is highlighting some deep wounds in personal life, and also collective energy is what I'm recognizing. Some deep wounds around masculine and feminine energy, even. Some wounds in the dreams that you were creating that no longer have a pathway to them in this way, shape, or form, right? Maybe you set out to create a dream 6 months ago, and somewhere along the way, you're sitting here now and you're like, the dream that I envisioned here is totally like, I'm standing here and it looks nothing like the dream that I started to create. Or it's not unfolding the way that I thought it should. Or I got these parts right, but not these parts right. Or you're just kind of refining and doing some fine tuning of the goals and plans that you set out to create, the things that you worked on. So I think what we're getting reminded of here in this moment is that timing is at play. Rhythms, patterns, and cycles are at play, and there's more refinement that is needed in this moment. So if you feel like you failed or you feel like giving up in this point in time, don't do that. Do not give up. You have not failed. You really come just so far to realize that maybe there's some other areas that need to be addressed or cleaned up before you can move forward, or before you can create a slightly different pathway forward. You may have realized the dream that you thought you were creating isn't exactly what you need right now in this moment to get you to where you're actually trying to go. And Saturn, karma, the Lord of karma, the timing and everything, Capricorn energy here is asking us to kind of pause for a minute and let's look at this, right? Where are you trying to go? What are you really trying to create here, and what refinement still needs to come in? Where are you self-sabotaging your life? Where do you need to have some better boundaries? Where do you need to be committed to some practices that are really going to help you with your discipline and your structure? And also, this is a lot about learning how to work with our emotional energy, learning how to use it for our advantage instead of allowing it to hold us back at times. Now, another thing that I'm really noticing is that spiritual practices right now are so important to support your emotional self, right? Um, and releasing, or I guess not releasing, but working with and healing any stories you have around security and stability in your life and your value, things like that, right? We have a lot of energy. I don't want to go into all the different energy that was at play, that's currently at play, and things, but I will say there's Chiron placements happening all over the place. Chiron is our wounded healer. So whenever Chiron is at play, we're going to receive healing. Now, healing comes from having these wounds triggered and reopened so that we can actually dive into the pain and the wound and the healing and transmute it. And how do we do that? We transform the pain into love by pulling out the gifts and the gold. We alchemize it into gold, right? We take this thing in our lives and we acknowledge all the wonderful gifts that have come from it, or that will come from it, or that are coming from it as a result, and who we're becoming, and this bigger, stronger person. So I'm going to just pause for a minute here, though, and tell you that one place I am at in my spiritual journey is really interesting. I've gone beyond. I went into the spiritual realm, right? I learned all these things about spirituality and law of attraction and how to manage emotions and stories we're telling and how we create our reality. And I've learned how to create reality and play with the energy. And I've done all these things, and I've sat in the energy of bliss and love and joy and peace, right? And somewhere along the road, you get back to the place where you're sitting here in your human life and you've done all this spiritual discovery. And now you're sitting back in your human life and you're looking around and you're going, whoa, wait a minute. I have learned so much. And I'm not trying to be arrogant here, because I have so much more to learn, right? There's always so much more to learn. But you get to a point where you've learned so much that you're sitting here again like, whoa, this is crazy. And I'm back in a human moment. I'm back in a human experience, and knowing everything that I know and sitting in my human experience And instead of fully spiritual bypassing my human experience, which is something that I've practiced for many years with spiritual bypassing, because I didn't fully understand how to integrate the spiritual wisdom that I had into my human life. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually part of the spiritual unfolding journey, is that you're in this place where you kind of have to spiritually bypass the problem to understand the bigger picture. And then at some point, though, you sit here and say, okay, that's the bigger picture, but my human right here is the one living this experience. And there's a little bit of frustration and anger, right? And so learning to honor yourself and learning to say, I am a wise spiritual person and I am still having a complete and total meltdown right now. And that is okay, because I'm also a human having a real live human experience. And it is normal and natural for me to feel this way. It's normal and natural for me to have a reaction to the events going on in my life, especially in light of some of these core trigger points in my life, my wounds and things that are being brought to the surface. It's normal for me to want to speak up. It's good for me to speak up, right? You start honoring yourself. It's good that I spoke my truth. It's good that I spoke up. I wish I would have spoken up a little bit differently, but it's good that I spoke up, right? I'm learning and I'm becoming. And it's really about honoring yourself for being a human in this moment and also trying to walk this spiritual path in your human existence. So there's a bridging of a gap between these two energies. So in this point in my journey, I'm back in my human and I'm really trying to honor being a human and also honor my spirituality, and still learning to master this energy, because I still believe everything that I always believed from the beginning. I still believe that we are love. I still believe that we are one. I still believe that all of this pain is a result of a variety of things, from past life experiences, karma, programs, all sorts of things that we as a soul set out to experience in this lifetime to create within us this person that we are, this energy, this resilience, this emotional resilience that we want to cultivate within ourselves, so that we learn how to use our emotions and not let our emotions use us, right? So we have massive amounts of energy here. Saturn's retrograding Pisces, which is the ruler of this lunation, because Saturn does rule Capricorn and it's a Capricorn full moon. It's asking us to be committed to our greater vision and our legacy work. It's asking us, don't get hung up in this moment. Face your wounds, transmute that pain, bring those practices in that help you cope and integrate the information, help you grow from the information, right? Help you reach that next layer of transformation so that you can rise up into your empowered self. Jupiter is in Taurus. It's expanding this vision. It's also working with our North Node that's in Taurus, bringing up some destiny points for us right now. Mercury is in Cancer, and we just had a Mercury Kazemi, which is when the Sun and Mercury connect. And it brings, that happened on the 1st, and it brings these aha moments of clarity in our lives. So you might have that around your communication. You might have that in information right now. You might have more awareness on how to communicate your feelings better, or that you do need to communicate your feelings and what you need to say and how you need to say it, right? Like I said, there's a lot of Chiron energy here. There's actually a T-square that happened between the moon and the sun and Chiron, right? So we have Aries, Cancer, and Capricorn, meaning that's where the square is, meaning the release for this energy is going to be in the sign of Libra. And what is Libra? Libra is about justice, balance. It's about harmony, peace. Where can you bring peace and balance and justice into your life at this time? Venus and Mars are in Leo. They're squaring Uranus and Taurus. This has to, it's going to be bringing up relationships or values that we have that no longer actually align with our authentic truths. Actions, passions, anything that we're doing that we're really no longer passionate about, that our heart is not in it. Um, and this is it could very much involve your legacy work. If your heart is not in your work, maybe you need to reassess that. And also understanding that there is a difference between the work that you do to pay your bills. There can be, there doesn't have to be, but there can be a difference in the work that you do that pays your bills and the work that you do that is your legacy that you leave upon the earth, right? The legacy that you leave upon the earth can involve many different facets of who you are and what you do and what you're about. It just can also be your actual physical job and your career. It depends on your life and what you have set up and what you're designing and creating. So do keep that in mind. What else here? There's a couple other things I want to touch on. Really refining spiritual practices right now seems to be a big thing. Refining your values. We're going to be going, Venus is going to be going retrograde. We're in the pre-shadow period of the Venus retrograde. Everything that has been coming up for you since June 18th all the way through July 23rd is going to be what you review under Venus retrograde. Venus is going to take her nice long dip. She's going to be in Leo, which is kind of a dramatic sign. And it's really going to have us readdressing self-expression, creativity, passions, even romance, the things that we do for pleasure. What do we value? And wherever Leo is in your chart, of course, that's going to bring up specific energies for you. But we're about to dive into that reassessment. And on the other side of this, we're gonna know ourselves a little bit better, know about our value a little bit more, and we're going to be able to make these adjustments. But what I really feel that the Capricorn full moon is telling us right now is make some fine-tune adjustments. Look at where you need to adjust your life. What areas do you need to shift a little? Do you need to have a better daily routine that supports you? And honestly, working on those spiritual practices that are going to help you avoid a self-sabotaging and leaking, emotional leaking. Right? We want to have boundaries on our emotions. Our emotions are beautiful and there's something to honor and appreciate and love, but we want to have some sort of boundaries on them. We don't want them leaking all over everywhere. We don't want other people's emotions leaking onto us. We want to have some boundaries there, and we want to guide our emotions and direct our emotions, right? And so sometimes if you don't know where you are emotionally, it's hard to guide that. Or if you don't know what emotions are and how to deal with them, that's a big one right there. And I am one who understands what emotions are from very much from a should I say physiological perspective. And then from the human perspective, though, the emotions is where I get a little wonky because I sometimes have trouble expressing my emotions in healthy ways. So that is something I've definitely been working on, is learning how to express my feelings and and speak up in healthier ways, right? And one of the big questions I'm really seeing right now is how can you let that old dream fall away or dissolve or completely die in order for this new one to begin to take structure? Capricorn energy is really notorious for climbing up the mountain, and I'm climbing up the mountain and I can't get to where I am. I'm blocked. And instead of like, I just kind of sit here stuck. And when really what would be best is to do a side step or even a step down over to the side and then back up, because you have to go around because you're hitting a limiting belief or a block in your life somewhere, right? So Capricorn energy can be really notorious for, instead of taking that down step and over and up around, they sort of end up just kind of hitting this wall and then falling to the ground and having to start the climb all over again. There's nothing wrong with that at all. It's normal and natural to have these experiences, but sometimes if we can learn to take that step backwards for a minute and look around and assess the bigger picture of what you were trying to create, what you still want to create, what's aligned with you now, what no longer fits in with that picture, that vision that you had, and sometimes just let the old dream die and say, you know what? I cannot create a path from point A to point B right now. I can't. So let me get rid of point B. Let me keep a few things about getting there. You know, what I thought point B was. Let me keep some of those things and let me go over here or around, right? Let me create a new pathway to this place. And let me redefine what point B looks like. Because maybe at this point, or probably at this point, you do have a different vision of what you're trying to reach, what that might look like, what it looks like from now, in your now, based on everything that you've learned for the past 6 months, right? The biggest question I think you can ask yourself is, what emotional wounds from your past are keeping you from being committed to your legacy work? Is there something that's hanging you up or keeping you blocked? This is really about taking a lot of responsibility for our emotions, meeting our own needs, our security and stability within our lives, leaning into um, that self-reliance and cultivation. Now, I want to address that we do need people in our lives. People are very important, but having interdependent relationships is very important versus codependent. And the nodes of the moon are about to change into Aries and Libra from Taurus and Scorpio, where they are right now. And we're really going to dive into that energy of interdependence and what that looks like versus codependency, and really starting to be whole within ourselves so that when we connect with other people, the two wholes are meeting each other and not two depleted energies, if that makes sense. I'm just checking in to see what other messages want to come through at this time about this energy. Collectively, I am burning today, I'm burning a full moon incense and working on transmuting some energy that I'm seeing come up around masculine energy and feminine energy, and how I'm noticing personally a lot of feminine rage coming up right now. And so some feminine rage of not being seen, not being heard, not being recognized, not being honored, not being valued, provided for, safety and security, those types of things, not having that a divine masculine influence in our culture and our community and our lives and our homes and our families. And I'm not saying it's not out there. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, because it absolutely does exist. I have met divine masculine men in my life, so that's not what I'm talking about here. But what I am noticing is just an in general collective feminine rage welling up about how we have been treated or mistreated. And there's this anger, and some of it is really about being angry at our own inabilities to have boundaries, to have provisions and security for ourselves. And some of that is because we don't know how, or we haven't been taught how, or situations that we've grown up in, right? Certain environments or whatever. So we have to cultivate and create these things for ourselves. And some of the rage then is really against our own self, for like not protecting our own self better. And it's not about blame. Really and truly, it's not about blame, because if you don't know how to do it, you can't really be upset with yourself, right? You can only do what you can do, and you can only be where you are. But I am noticing this rage that's coming up over the lack of the divine masculine energy, and trying to soothe some of that energy, not just soothe it, but clear the old programming out that says, um, of blaming the masculine energy for not protecting the feminine energy, right? And what this does is clearing this energy allows us in our feminine energy to say, oh, wait a minute. I am a creator and I am very powerful in my essence, and I can take care of myself in all these ways. And it's not about not having healthy relationships. It's not about being a feminist. It's not about saying we don't need healthy masculine energy in our life. None of that. That is not what this is about at all. So don't take it to that extreme. But this is about rising up and being empowered within yourself and taking charge over your own life right now, and taking charge over your own path and your own direction, and not giving your power away to someone else to make those decisions in your life, but keeping your power and saying, no, this is what I want to do with my life, and this is the path that I want to go. And these are the things that I want for myself. Because when you're doing that in your feminine energy and you're creating what you want for yourself, one thing you're honoring and acknowledging is that you have an opinion, and your opinion matters, and what you want matters, and the direction you want to go in actually is important to your life. And in opening that door, it also allows you to say, I'm going to trust. I'm going to trust that the divine masculine energy that I want to invite into my life not only exists, but I'm going to stumble right into it as I'm standing in my divine feminine energy, right? And as I cultivate my own boundaries, I'm going to keep out the energies that don't belong in, and I'm going to also keep in the energies that don't belong out, right? And I'm no longer going to be mad at or hold accountable the masculine energy in my life for the wounds that I have, because instead I'm going to take control over my own energy, and I'm going to be a master of my own energy, and I'm not going to give it away. You don't have the ability to misuse my power and gifts if I don't put them in your hands to be used, or to be used or appreciated, right? You don't have the ability to do those, to dishonor what I don't give you, right? Those types of things. So it's understanding that you can be protective over your magic, your power, your essence, your energy. You don't have to give it away. You don't have to compromise yourself. You really can stand in your own authentic energy and allow and trust the universe to bring the cooperative components into your life. So that's one thing I'm working on. If you feel that resonates with you, just open up in this moment, because one thing I will be doing is calling in the collective clearing of this energy. And so, what I'm going to do right now is something that I don't normally do on these videos. And I didn't want this video to be too long, so I won't stay too long in it. But if you want to join me, I am an Akashic Records facilitator. So, I'm just going to take this moment to open up the Akashic Records for the collective energy. Now, if you are driving or operating heavy machinery, you might want to just pause this video and come back later, because I never know what it's going to do to people when we do energy work, right? But otherwise, just take a moment. You can participate or not, and if you choose to participate, you can just acknowledge that you're participating. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm being called to light a little Palo Santo to clear the energy. And I'm going to open up the Akashic Records and move into the Akashic Records of the collective energy right now under this Capricorn full moon. And one thing I didn't touch on too much is about these failures in our lives and perceived failures. And I gotta tell you, you don't know until you try. And it's really hard to call something a failure, because you really, any experience you have, you gain so many gifts, so many nuggets of wisdom from it. It's hard to call anything a true failure, right? And so when we look at these things and we have these perceived failures in our lives, we can get really down and hard on ourselves and really emotionally restrictive and limiting over our beliefs and our feelings and our thoughts and all these things, right? It can really get us hung up. So we're going to open up the collective Akashic records for anyone who is watching this now or in the future. And just open yourself up to receive, expanding your energy, activating what I call the Akashic Heart Opener, which is just going to expand your heart space. This is going to open up your crown chakra so you can receive in new information, insight, and wisdom. And it's going to open up your root chakra so that you can really process energy through, allowing old energy to fall away, allowing yourself to be supported by the earth here in your life's work and your life's purpose. And I'm just going to do a really quick, simple alignment. We want to allow our old dreams to fall away, pass away. We want to accept that they were not failures. They were beautiful life lesson moments for us. We have so many gifts to pull out of this moment. And this is not, nothing has gone wrong. We simply need to refine our paths forward. We need to refine our energy, our emotion, our beliefs, our direction, our vision, our goal. We simply need to refine a few things, get a little bit more structured and practiced. Get a little bit more disciplined about what we're doing, right? Where can we bring more discipline into this moment? So we're changing our stories right now about any and all things around failures or restrictions or even toxic masculinity or toxic femininity, because we are on this feminine masculine axis here, sun and moon, awareness, subconscious. We want to bring all of these energies into balance in our lives to the highest possible level that we can receive at this time, balancing our yin and yang, balancing our masculine and feminine, balancing our action and receiving, balancing our giving and receiving, balancing all of these things, our taking action versus creating, balancing all of these energies within us so that we can be fully empowered into our highest frequency right now, being in alignment with our own energy and our own vision, and starting to see the clear paths forward, the side steps that we need to take, the things that we need to focus on right now, setting this dream to the side so that we can focus on this one, right? Those types of energies. So we're just going through your Akashic records. We're clearing out some of the old stories, anything that comes up to your mind right now to receive healing, soothing, anywhere where you need to look at yourself and say, I'm so sorry that I abandoned you. I'm so sorry that I let other people make decisions for you. I'm so sorry that I gave our power away. I'm so sorry that I wasn't strong enough to have boundaries, or I'm so sorry that I allowed these boundaries to be crossed because I didn't know what else to do, or I'm so sorry that I didn't know how to speak up for you before, right? Really starting to apologize to yourself and calling into your own vessel this, I'm so sorry I haven't taken better care of you. I'm sorry that I haven't taken better care of you. How can I nurture you today? Really tuning into your feminine creation energy at this time, or your um, yin energy at this time, as well as your yang energy, allowing yourself to take action where you need to take action, but rest where you need to take those moments of rest, right? Bringing these energies into balance, really bringing in this nurturing, kind, tender energy about yourself that says, here's the goals, and we can do this, and here's how we can do this, and here's where you've been before, where you've been successful, and here's how we're going to set you up and support you for success moving forward, and here's where we're going to be a little bit more refined in our practice, or a little bit more disciplined at our life. Really aligning you with those frequencies so that you can clearly see in this moment the areas that you need to be a little bit more disciplined, structured, and refined in, or create better structures for yourself so that you can nurture and grow your dream and be more emotionally resilient and use your emotions to bring about the future that you want to create versus repeating cycles and patterns and rhythms that you don't want to be stuck and trapped in. We're going to call through a nice white flush through your system just to kind of cleanse and refresh your energy. And you can just maybe notice and feel as this white light runs through your whole body and your chakra systems. You might just feel like the weight falling away from you. You might notice that you're just kind of sinking into this radiance, this brilliance, this relaxed and empowered state of being as well. You might notice that your shoulders relax a little bit, your neck loses the tension that it might be holding on to. Just allow this flush to run through your body into the earth, allowing all these old energies to be transmuted. We're transmuting the old stories into understanding that these challenges that you faced, they were here to bring you to the place where you are right now so that you can have more strength and more resilience, so that you can move forward and be equipped with all of the skills and discernment that you need moving into other realms in your life. You know, discernment is a huge part of boundaries, and learning discernment literally takes practice. It literally takes feeling energy in your body and making a decision and seeing what the results are and going, oh, okay, I understand, right? Discerning energy, discerning what is for you and what isn't for you. Sometimes the best information and the best guidance out there is not meant for you, because where you are on your personal spiritual journey or your personal life journey is not in the same place that someone else is. Capricorn and Cancer access, if anything, it teaches us about seasons and timing of life. There is a season and a cycle for everything. Where you are on your journey is where you are. Where other people in your life are on their journey is where they are. What works for them, or what is their current guidance, what they should be doing in their life, may have nothing to do with what you're doing in your life. And this is something that I am noticing as well when people are on different places in their spiritual journey. I have some beautiful friends starting out at the beginning of their spiritual journey, and they are in that bliss state, and they are in that place of detaching from their human experiences in order to bring forward that spiritual wisdom, right? Where I'm in a place of integrating back into my human experiences. So for them to give me advice that I need to detach from things is actually not the advice that I need on my spiritual journey right now in this moment. In this moment, what I'm doing is honoring who I am as a human and integrating the wisdom that I have in love of my human, in kindness of my human, and complete and total compassion of exactly where I am on my human journey. And so neither one of us are in a bad place. My friends who are new on their journey versus people who are more practiced in their journey, it's just where you are in your cycle. So understanding that deep within your body is the information that tells you this is what's right for me right now, and honoring yourself for being exactly where you are right now, exactly where you need to be. All right, so we're just kind of slipping all of this into your records, allowing you to kind of update your stories and rewrite them and understand this experience brought me the gift of resilience. This experience brought me strength. This experience taught me to speak up for myself. This experience taught me what I do and do not like. This experience taught me that this is really important to me. This is a really, this quality is something that I really value in my life. This is a non negotiable for me. I learned from this experience that this is a non negotiable for me. Or I learned, right? So, really taking those nuggets, those gold, the jewels, the pearls, all of the things in your life, alchemizing, transmuting any and all experiences of pain, sorrow, rejection, loss, failed experiences, failed experiments, failed dreams. One of the energies I remember feeling, there was kind of a collective energy, is this is not what I created. This is not the life that I wanted to have. This isn't the plan. This wasn't supposed to be, right? So really just accepting, coming to a place of acceptance and peace of, here's where I am right now and all is well. And here's where I'm moving towards as a result of where I am right now and everything I know from this point forward. Here's what I'm creating next. So allowing you to sink into that energy and create that for yourself. And now we're just going to send some liquid gold honey through your chakra systems to really seal in, anchor in, lock in all of this energy for you. Allowing your whole vessel to be upgraded, lighter, freer, ready to move into your future path. Not giving up, but assessing where you are and simply making those adjustments as needed, whether it's an adjustment to the plan, the dream, the structure, some type of discipline or practice that you need to bring in, all of those things, right? All of those things. And we're just going to say thank you, thank you, thank you to our angels and guides for helping assist us at this time with this alignment. And I want to go ahead and disconnect from the collective records here at this time and from the energy of anyone who is listening to this now or in the future, and closing up the records, calling my energy back to myself, disconnecting from everything. All right. So one thing I do in the Akashic Records, my gift is working with energy. I do alignments, I do clearings, I do energy work, I do activations. I activate you to your gifts, to your higher self, to other aspects of yourself, other dimensions, your multidimensional self. I help you bring in a lot of deep healing. I am one who sees into the subconscious and the psyche. It's literally written in my chart that I get to have this beautiful insight. And part of it is because of my deep connection that I have to the spiritual realm, the Akashic records, the work I do is just all part of it, right? This is part of my life's work and my purpose. So I am just inviting you at this time to join us in Akashic alignments if you feel called. This is a membership that I do have, where every month you get to ask questions or have personal alignments where I go into your records individually for you and do an alignment or a reading, bring information, wisdom, guidance, healing, whatever you need. And then the other two opportunities, you get one per week, you get two personal ones, and then the other two are group alignments that I do, a little bit similar to what we just did now, but definitely different, different in regards to various subjects, and they're usually recorded and set to music and everything like that. It's a really wonderful space. It's one of my favorite groups that I have right now. And so if you're interested, I'll have the link below to check that out. I do invite you to join us. All of the past group alignments that I've ever created are in that space. You can take advantage of them when you join us. Right now it is hosted on Facebook, and if I do get interest in the future for people who want to participate in this that aren't on Facebook, I'm happy to extend this into a different arena and do Zoom calls and replays. But for right now, we are hosted on Facebook for Akashic Alignments, and it just really is a wonderful group. Otherwise, I highly recommend a personal, individual, one-on-one session to clear your energy and bring forward some beautiful wisdom, guidance, and healing for yourself, or to align you with a future to help you create that future. I am a creation coach and a Phase by the Moon guide, so I understand a little bit about the energies at play, a little bit about personal charts to look at things if you have your chart, or if you want to look at that sort of stuff. I am not a professional reader. I have people that I can recommend for that, but what I do is I can look at the energies, I can see what's going on, and I can have your records open. We can all do all sorts of things. We don't have to get into astrology so much. It just depends on what comes up for you in your session. Some of the I can't even begin to start describing the variety of work I do. So if you haven't had a session, I highly recommend having one. Each one is very unique, and depending on where you are in your journey and what you need at this moment. All right, so I think that that's all I have to say about this. Really start asking yourself how you can move forward into that legacy work that you're wanting to do. Where do you need to be a little bit more disciplined? Where can you support yourself better? Where can you create your emotional stability, resilience? Um, how can you create your own security and stability in your own life? And how can you release some of the energies in the feminine masculine frequencies, and get rid of some of those lower vibration things and call in more of that high vibe, balanced energy within yourself. I hope you'll have a wonderful full moon. I hope that you receive the deep healing that is available to you at this time. And until I see you next time, may you be Santosha.